Did you say over? Yes, we did. Animal House, one of the great foundational movies of our time. And that's all it was yesterday, Mark. All kinds of offense, all kinds of homers. And we may be back at it again today. So a full 15-game slate here on the docket. Let me start with you on the early game, 6:35 p.m. Eastern, Arizona and Baltimore from Camden Yards. Wind is blowing out to right center, 12 miles an hour, 85 degrees. The Chicago Cubs in Philadelphia, Citizens Bank Park, how about 85 degrees, 10 miles an hour out to right field? How about Comerica Park, Kansas City and Detroit, 79 degrees, winds to left at 12 miles an hour. Those three games right now, at least to get that side of the slate started, Mark, we could be seeing a lot of balls leaving the ballpark again.
Yeah, and you mentioned you're absolutely right, 100%. I mean, wind obviously affects it and warm weather affects it, right? And you've heard players complaining about the cold weather, especially in the Northeast, other parts of this country to begin the season because, you don't want to play baseball when it's freezing outside, right? You even saw the Mets moving games a week ago earlier because of how cold it was going to be at night. And they had 4:10 starts. Nobody was there, but still, it was been more comfortable for the players. I'm going to look at that Baltimore-Arizona game. Rodgers has been great for Baltimore. I think he's going to be great again for the Orioles. They've won 3 in a row. They've been hot. They're getting going. Camden Yards obviously is very, very hitter friendly. I like the Orioles tonight a little bit. I think we're going to continue to go out there and get runs. I think we're going to get runs in the Yankees game against the Angels. Obviously, you're going to see it there. And last night you saw 21 runs scored between the two teams. So, but I like Baltimore tonight to keep it going against Arizona with the Rodgers and a very, very favorable pitching matchup tonight for the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, I'm in on the over for the Cubs and the Phillies. I played the over 9.5 minus $1.05 on DraftKings. It is now up to $1.08. So seeing a little bit of money come in there. If you're looking for homers, I'm going to tell you there are a couple of places right now. Mentioned Camden Yards would be a great spot. Citizens Bank there in Philadelphia. I would look at Comerica Park, especially for the right-handed hitters. Again, wind blowing out to left field. A couple other places that are starting to jump off the board. You mentioned Yankee Stadium. It bears repeating. Last night, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Trent Grisham, all with 2 homers apiece in a game that saw 21 runs scored. If you tailed us on the over and the alternate over, then you had as rocking chair a winner as you could have. I think we're back there tonight, and I think that is another actionable place here. Total is at 9 right now. It's Reed Detmers, Ryan Weathers on the hill. Anybody in particular that jumps out to you, or do you just go right back to the well here for the usual suspects?
I'd probably go right back to the well with the usual suspects. I would look at, and Judge is starting to get going here a little bit. Has had hits 3 of the last 4 games. Has driven in 5 in the last 2. He's got 3 home runs in his last 2 games. He got off to that, very, very poor start to begin the season. And the Yankee pitching staff was kind of leading the way in terms of how good they were to begin the year. Now you're seeing some fundamental issues, defensive issues. You're seeing them not be able to hit with runners at scoring position, and they need number 99 to get back to number 99. We talked about a little bit with Will Hill as you saw the MVP odds of Ben Rice, who's off to a rip-roaring start, drop from, well north of 100 to 1 to, 35 to 40 to 1 to be the MVP of the American League. When the Yankees are right, Judge is right. And, he's going to get back to his prototypical self. All right. There's not going to be him falling off a cliff, especially not this season. So he would be a guy that when he starts getting going, Jensen, as we've seen over the course of his career, there have been times where he's gone through cold streaks, but when he starts to get going, and usually it's around this time of the year, usually it's 15, 16 games into the season. Usually, historically speaking, he has unbelievable months of May. I would lean into the heater when you're looking at Aaron Judge.
3 other guys I would look at tonight. We talked about Mike Trout, Opta AI giving us some really good, strong and actionable angles in that Angels and Yankees game. Giancarlo Stanton, Mike Trout, and Joe Adele. If you're playing hits, runs, and RBI markets, Opta AI projecting all 3 of those guys to have at least 2 or more in that category. So it might be a great place to be able to attack there. Rest of the slate tonight, we've got some dandies in weather-wise too, as we get out a little bit farther, looking at some overs potentially at Target Field. Minnesota absolutely pasting Garrett Crochet and the Red Sox yesterday. Do they have a follow-up act for that tonight? It'll be Sonny Gray and Mick Abel. That total is at 8. And right now, I would say an over is where I'd lean there. 67 degrees, winds are 5 miles an hour out of the north. So that is going to kind of blow right across the field from the third base to the first base side. Another place that I would look for an under, and I've got the under in pocket for the Guardians and the St. Louis Cardinals. It's the hottest as far as game time temperature on the slate right now, Mark. Game time temp around 88 degrees. Now, the winds are blowing at 14 miles an hour, and it's a little bit cross field, at least going from the first base to the third base side. But I feel like we're gonna get some swing and miss here from Joey Cantillo and from Michael McGreevy. So that's an under 8.5 officially in pocket. I know we talked a little bit about the Mets and the Dodgers. Right now, 63 degrees, 10 miles an hour is the wind, blowing pretty much out to center and right center. Do we get a run scored from the Mets against Yoshi Yamamoto later tonight?
I think you're going to get a run. I just don't know. They might not score 2. That's the issue when you have against the New York Mets. And I would lean toward the under in the game. You and I, with the pitching matchup that we're seeing out there in Chavez Ravine, and the Mets are in all kinds of funk right now. And I think something worth watching from a national perspective, if you're, not locked into the New York marketplace, is the seat is starting to get warmer and warmer on the Mets manager, Carlos Mendoza. Not saying it's his fault, not saying that he's mismanaged this team, just based on the changes that were made by the team president, David Stearns, in the offseason, the changes to his coaching staff, and you're starting to get more and more. This team needed to get off to a good start, even without Juan Soto, and you have not seen that. And they're riding a losing streak going into Chavez Ravine tonight. I don't expect that losing streak to come to an end with the matchup being it is, and with that offense being where it's at. You and I are going mano a mano in the Rangers Athletics game. I like the over in the game. I'm going to lean into that. You're taking the under. I'll give you another one I like. I'm going to take Michael King and the San Diego Padres, who have been playing pretty good baseball right now. And he's pitching to north of, underneath the 3.3 ERA on the season as they're home taking on the Seattle Mariners. I like the San Diego Padres tonight on the money line.
Yeah, that is a great series. The Mariners just coming off a 4-game sweep of the Houston Astros, and maybe their offense is finally starting to turn it on. Some other actionable spots. As I'm looking through the major league slate here, seeing if any of the data really jumps off the page here. Obviously, the over 9.5 already in pocket for the Cubs and the Phillies. I think the over 7.5 there for the Royals and the Tigers would make sense. You could almost go on the run line. And speaking of that Mets and Dodgers game, the way they're going, if you don't want to swallow the juice here at 219, and I can understand why you wouldn't. That plus $1.02 right now for the Dodgers to cover the run line there with Yoshi Yamamoto against Nolan McLean. That's an interesting spot that I'd be willing to look at. And I mentioned PNC Park. Paul Skeens finally getting run support. What a novel concept. They put up 16 yesterday in a pasting of the Washington Nationals. I think we could see more runs in that contest. So I would lean to an over 9.5 in that. I would lean to the over 8 in the Boston and the Twins matchup. I think you could see an over in Milwaukee, and Greg Peterson astutely pointing that one out. Even though the matchup, Kevin Gausman against Jacob Mizorowski, we could see with even a lower total there that might be on. One final play to throw at people. We didn't get the under home with the Marlins and the Braves yesterday. We're going to go right back to the well. Max Meyer against Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez has been a godsend for this rotation in Atlanta after having to deal with injuries last year. Max Meyer, one of the young, bright starters there for a Marlins rotation that is off to a rip-roaring start. So official plays in pocket right now for yours truly. We're going to play the over 9.5 at minus $1.05 for Cubs Phillies, and we're going to play the under for the Rangers Athletics, under 8.5 at even money. Under 8.5 for Guardians Cardinals at minus $1.18, and that under 8.5 for the Marlins at Braves. That price at minus $1.12.